Alright everybody, welcome back to this new episode of your snake guide to identifying all the snakes around the central Oklahoma area. Today it's going to be looking at the differences and similarities between the king snakes and some of the pit vipers that we have. So basically, let's just start off with talking about both king snakes. So we have two species of king snakes here in Oklahoma. One is the speckled king snake, the other is the prairie king snake. The speckled king snake is a really pretty snake. They get much bigger than the prairie king snake. They're black, glossy snakes with white speckles all on every black scale. They're found all throughout the state. They have white speckles or yellow speckling all along the length of their body. They're pretty big. The reason these kinds of snakes are called king snakes is because their diet consists of mainly other snakes. So if you don't like snakes, the king snake should be your favorite snake because it eats those other snakes. It'll even eat venomous snakes such as copperheads, cottonmouths, rattlesnakes. They love eating that kind of stuff, and they are almost immune to the rattlesnake and other viper venom. It's cool, they've kind of become immune to the venom from those pit vipers in order to actually be able to eat them. The second species of king snake we have here in central Oklahoma is the prairie king snake. Now, the prairie king snake is going to be kind of a tan base color, and it's going to be a really, really glossy snake. It's going to get that iridescent shine off the scales. It's not going to be keeled, and when I say keeled scales, what I mean is rough, like rough scales, kind of jagged. If it's not keeled, it's just smooth. It's going to make it really glossy. And the prairie king snake, along with having tan as being the base color, it's going to have either red or brownish blotches going all along the length of the body. Blotches or spots or sometimes even a little bit of speckling on that belly. These ones don't get as big as the speckled king snake, but again, they are king snakes. They will eat a lot of other species of snake, including the venomous pit vipers such as the copperhead and some rattlesnakes. So like most other non-venomous snakes, these snakes are long and slender. The king snakes here, the prairie king doesn't get too big, but the speckled king can get pretty big. I've seen a very large speckled king snake I found at Arcadia. The video should be coming up soon. Don't worry for these, I'm posting these. We are still getting content for actual herping videos, which is on the way. Okay, so both king snakes we have here are long and slender. It's not like the pit vipers where they're super fat. Their head is just also like a lot of the other non-venomous snakes. It's just going to blend into the body. With those vipers, you can definitely see where that head is separated from the body. You got those big venom glands separating the head, making that triangular face look that everybody recognizes when you're talking about pit vipers. Those pit vipers have those venom glands. It makes their cheeks look puffy. That's what makes them pit vipers. Along with that little pit hole behind their nostril, that's what makes them pit vipers. That's what makes them dangerous. That is what makes them different from the king snakes with their rounded heads. A lot of the times, the king snake patterning is a lot more variable than the viper. So for example, copperheads are typically always going to have that banding along their body. They're always going to be pretty much the exact same distinctive pattern. Because copperheads really can't have much variability within their species. They all kind of look the same. The king snakes can all be super different. Of course, every snake is variable, but these king snakes especially. So the farther east you go, the more banding and less speckling the speckled kings get. And the farther west you go, the more yellow they become, and the speckling is just straight speckling, less banding, less patterning within it. Prairie king snake, I haven't seen too much variability within it. That's just kind of a thing you can use for speckled king, but that's a way to differentiate it from a lot of the pit vipers. So like I said earlier, they are king snakes because they eat other snakes. So if you're not a snake lover, these should be your favorite snakes because they're eating all those other snakes that you don't want. They're eating those vipers. Those vipers are what makes you afraid of snakes because the vipers are dangerous. These king snakes are going to eat those vipers, keep their population controlled around your house. These snakes don't care where they live. They're not picky, and they will eat those vipers and make your house a little bit safer if you're still afraid of those vipers. Now, the speckled king snake should be pretty easy to tell from a viper since it looks like nothing that is venomous that is in any part of this state. However, the prairie king snake can sometimes look like a dangerous snake. So typically what I've noticed is that the speckled kings are a bit more placid, they're a lot more calm, and those prairie king snakes are going to be really not that nice, kind of mean, kind of defensive if you get too close to them. And so that's a pattern I've noticed, which makes it a little bit harder to differentiate it between it and a copperhead, because I would say out of all the venomous snakes in this area, it looks most like a copperhead, but here's a way to tell. Okay, so the copperheads are going to have keeled scales. Remember I said that earlier, I used that word. It just means they're going to be rough. It's not going to be a smooth, shiny snake. It's going to be really rough. Every scale is going to have kind of a ridge going through the center of it. Whereas the prairie king snake, all the scales are flat, nice and smooth, nice and glossy. You got that iridescent shine off of it. The prairie king snake's also long and slender, whereas the copperhead is fat and kind of short. I mean, the prairie king doesn't get very big. The copperheads get a lot bigger than the prairie king snake. I actually haven't seen too many people kill king snakes for some reason. Maybe it's because the Lampropeltis genus is stereotypically uncommon and it's quite rare. Snakes in the Lampropeltis genus are often sought out by a lot of herpers, and maybe they just don't come up as often as a lot of the other snakes that we've already done in the past guides. But I have seen a couple snakes killed, especially the speckled king snakes, which there's no reason for that because they look nothing like any other viper. So I'm sure if I have showed you the photos of the speckled king, then you will definitely be able to tell what it is, and that is not dangerous whatsoever. As I've said in previous videos, it's best to do your own research. This means just looking at photos, comparing them with vipers, just have experience with them, and look at footage and videos and everything just to help you. Really make sure you know what snakes you're looking at when you find them in the wild or you come across them around your house so that you don't kill them, because every snake is valuable to the ecosystem. Even if it's a viper, even if it's a little tiny Midland brown snake. Everything is valuable to the ecosystem. So with that being said, watch for those king snakes because they're super important because they control the viper population, and that should be it for this video.